Are women really becoming less happier than men? Well, according to Yale Law School, it's a paradox. Really?
What's going on with women these days? We used to be a lot happier than men, and now we're not. What happened?
What you've found is that over the past 20 years or so, women have converged downward to the unhappiness levels of men. And at first I thought, great, men are getting happier. Women are getting unhappier, is what we find. And they're getting unhappier very quickly. And so there's a lot of different theories of it. You find that there's a lot less family formation going on. There's a lot less marriage. You find that men and women are diverging politically really, really quickly. You find that women are getting much more politically progressive and men are getting more conservative. And so the result of it is that, especially in a culture where people think that the most important thing for making a romantic match is voting for the same party idiotically, social media is especially targeted at young women. It's creating a whole lot of misery with the social comparison, with political hatred, with the sense of loneliness that's crawling out of people's smartphones. And all these things together are creating an epidemic of unhappiness among women, especially young women in our society today.
What's going on with
I think he's scared. The simple reason is feminism. And I do think that feminism has failed women in the long run. First, let's go to what Yale University Law School has got to say. This is a study from Yale Law School, and it states the paradox of declining female happiness. Women have traditionally reported higher levels of happiness than men, but they are now reporting happiness levels that are similar or even lower than those of men. The relative decline in well-being holds across various data sets and holds whether one asks about happiness or life satisfaction. This is according to Yale Law School. Let's dive in deeper. By Betsy Stevenson and Justin Wolfers, the abstract states that by many objective measures, the lives of women in the United States have improved over the past 35 years. Yet, they show that measure of subjective well-being indicates that women's happiness has declined both absolutely and relative to men. And the relative decline in female happiness have eroded in a gender gap in happiness in which women in the 70s typically reported higher subjective well-being than did men. The decline have continued and a new gender gap is emerging, one with higher subjective well-being for men. Of course, some will say it's common sense, right? The women say, oh, I want to do as well as men. I want to do whatever a man can do, I can do it as well. And they like switch roles between men and women. And all of a sudden, the men become less interested because the women become less feminine. That's my personal opinion. The speaker right here definitely has been really struggling to explain what's going on, but I think it's simple. This study is really I don't think it's a paradox personally. So feminism has really I would say failed, but it's not sexist. It's not saying that doesn't mean that I'm sexist or whatever, but it's quite evident now the push for women to become independent, as if like, come on, no one controlled women before. They were independent. They just have what they can do and what they can't do. They couldn't do men's job, and to be frank, to be honest, men couldn't do what women do either. So feminism pushing equality for reasons beyond, I won't call it so here's the deal. The main reason is that women have become I'll say intolerant of men, because women can provide for themselves. They think they don't need a man. But think about it. The men who provided for women and take care of their children, they didn't say they don't need a woman because they're doing all the things. And to be honest, they could do what the woman can do, but they didn't say they don't need a woman. But now when the woman is able to provide and do what the men can do, they say they don't need a man. I mean, it's such an irony, right? Isn't it? And I don't think it's healthy for the society. That's why we are declining, and we are declining fast. And as the study shows, it could be a paradox or not, but the reason is clear. Women are becoming less happier than men. Due to cancel culture, it could be due to many reasons, but personally, I do think it's due to the fact that women have been feminized and they've been indoctrinated that they don't need a man. which I think is wrong. So I think we need a new approach on all these. You can still be able to earn six figures, provide for your man, and you still live together happily ever after, right? The men have done it ever since the world began. So I think you should just adopt. If you're trying to do as the men or do what the men are doing, why not adopt how selfless the men have been, being able to provide and do all the things you can do as well, and still keep you or still take you for a wife without even thinking about it, without even saying, oh, well, you're not doing anything for me, so I don't need you. No, that's not how the men have been. In fact, maybe feminism should be rebranded and actually do everything a man does, including being tolerant when you're the provider. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for listening to the Brown Coffee Podcast. I will be bringing you more of these with facts and some Yale Law School is quite a source for this, but I don't buy these studies. It's not a paradox. It's clear. Let's just say it and just put it out there for what it is. Feminism has failed women. It needs to be rebranded. Cheers.